Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Welcome to our first PU Computer Science online classes. In last class we know that we already completed the chapter. The chapter is our introduction to C++. Correct? No? We know that how to write the program, and I already explained in concept like our structure of C++ program. We know that about the comment line, linker section, as well as the definition section, global variable section here, and the main, or we can say that the braces in this case here, and the variable declaration section, and the lastly we can say about our executable statement section here. So we know each and everything. Now in today's class we are going to start the chapter 8. The name of the chapter is called as the data types. Okay here. So now we are in the new chapter, that is our chapter 8. The name of the chapter is called as the data types. Okay. Now in our introduction, first of all I want to say in our introduction, that means to understand any programming language, that means how to write the program, where to use the comment line here, where to stop the program, how to open the program, how to start the program. We know that by using the flower bracket, and ending of the program by using the closing of the flower bracket here, or maybe if you are using any statement, such a statement going to close or terminate by using the semicolon here, and maybe if more variables are there, or maybe more than one variable is there here, that means such a variable are going to separate by comma. So each and everything we know, so we can say that before understand any programming language, how to write the program, how to develop the program, each and everything, first of all, first we need to understand the elementary concept. Correct na here? So programming language ಹೇಗೆ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, ಹೇಗೆ ಬಿಲ್ಡಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, ಹೇಗೆ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅನ್ನು ಬರಿತೇವೆ, ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ವಿಷಯ. Clear this point here? It is later words we came to know how to write the program, but before writing the program we should need to understand some of the elementary concept. Okay here? And which form the, or such elementary concept form the we can say that the building block of that program. That means such it going to develop the program by using all those it possible to develop the program, to write the program here. So what are the building block or the basic building block? So we can say that the basic building block include the data type and the variables. Clear this point here? So the basic building block include the data type and the variables. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ಇಂಟ್ರಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಈ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅನ್ನು ಬರೆಯುವ ಮುಂಚೆ, ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಮುಂಚೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಬರೆಯುವುದು ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದಿ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟರಿ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ನೋ? ಅಂಡ್ ಸಚ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟರಿ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ ದಿ program here. So we can say that some of the basic building block or the elementary concept are the data type and the variables. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡದಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಟು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್. and maybe if you are declaring the variable, that means such variable going to declare by using the data type. So without maybe by using any missing value, maybe the data type or the variable, it's not possible to build up the program. So clear this point here about our introduction in this case here. Okay, now after completing the introduction in this case here, next thing about the variables. So clear this point here. Now we are in the concept of the variable. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಇಂಟ್ರಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಡಾಟಾ ಟೈಪ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ, ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. Now let's the meaning of the variables. Now a variable is an object, that means identifiable entity. any name we need to provide to the variable, correct? No, to identify the variable we providing some name to the variable. So just I want to start the meaning of the variable. A variable is an object, or we can say that a variable is an element, okay? And such variable may take on any value of a specified type. It not necessary, or it not just only compulsory to give the variable value is equal to 100, the variable value is equal to 90. Any value we can provide to the variable, correct? No, here. So just only I added the word meaning or the sentence here. It is an object, or a variable is an element, and such variable may take any value on a specified type here. That means we can provide any value to the variable, okay here? And it represent the name of the memory location, correct? No, if you are providing any name to the variable, maybe the variable name is the sum. If you are providing such variable name as the sum, so we can say that it represents the memory location, correct? No, here it represents the name of the memory location, in this case here, in which a value can be stored here. And why we using all such memory location? To store the value. That means we providing the name to such memory location as a sum, and such memory location is using to store the value. So clear this point here? Artha agta ideyalla? Why? Because it's a very important concept here. Without understanding, it's not possible to build up the program without knowing the meaning of the variable, the meaning of the data type, how to use the variable, and where to use the variable here, and where to use about our data type, and about the meaning of the data type here. So clear this point here? So we can say that a variable is an object, identifiable entity here, or we can say as the element, okay? And such variable take any type of the value here. We can provide any value to the variable, and it represent or indicate the name of the memory location, correct? No, here just we need to provide some name to the memory location. So in this example, I provided the name to the memory location just as the sum here. And why we using the memory location? To add some of the value to the variable. Clear this point here? So we can say that it holds the value of the variable. As we know that the meaning of the variables, that means here we can say that it represents the name of the memory location in which a value can be stored, correct? No, here? And they are used to represent or indicate where we using the variable. So we can say that such variable going to use in the constant here, or maybe the arrays in the program of the arrays here, in program of the functions here, the variable we need. Without variable, it's not possible to build up the program here. The variables, or maybe the structure, union, files, and many other elements are going to used in the program. So in such program, we need to declare the variable. Without variable, not possible to develop the program here. So clear this point about the variable. Now let's what such variable going to declare. So the variables are generally declared in the declaration section of the program. We know that where to declare the variable. First of all, the linker section hash include iostream.h, and later next one maybe if any definition section depend on the program, we are going to use the definition section here, and after that global declaration section, it also such section is optional, correct? No, and later next one we are using the main function, and main function instruct the compiler the program start here, then after that opening of the flower bracket, and after opening of the flower bracket, later next one we declaring the variable. What are the variable we need to build up or develop the program here? So we can say that the variable are generally declared in the declaration section of the program, and their values can be calculated during program execution. Whatever the value we are providing to such variable, such value can be calculated or manipulated during the execution of the program. So clear this point here, the meaning of the variables in this case here. So introduction clear now to everyone about the introduction. Here just nothing is there in case of the introduction. The building block just only we need to use in the program. So the most important building block are the data type type and the variables. Now we are in the concept of the variable. We know that the variable is an object element in this case here, and such variable can take any value, correct no here, or variable are declared in the declaration section of the program, and whatever the value we using, adding, providing to the variable, such variable value are going to calculate during the execution of the program. Okay, so some example for the variable are, so what are the example? So here the example we can take as the name. Okay, here N-A-M-E, name. Later next one sum, S-U-M, it is a valid variable names, name, sum in this case, or stood underscore marks in this case here. So clear this point here. Maybe I want to take some of the name as the, some of the example for the variable as the name, and later next one is the sum, otherwise stood underscore marks. Clear this point here, stood underscore marks here. So all are the example for the variables. So now I think clear the meaning of the variable. Now let's next important, very important point, that is called as the declaration of the variable. ನನಗೆ ಈಗ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಓಕೆ, ಅಡ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ? Now the next concept is the declaration of the variable. So we can say that the syntax for declaring a variable is as follows. Now this is the syntax. Clear this point here. So now whatever I am going to tell, that is called as the syntax of declaring the variable or the declaration of variable. Syntax anta helidre formula. Okay, so now the formula or the syntax is the data type variable underscore name semicolon. Clear this point here. So should remember it. Why? Because it is very important to build up any program. First of all we need to know what's the name or how to declare the variable. So the declaration of the variable going to start, or the syntax of the declaration of a variable are data type variable underscore name semicolon. Now one example for this declaration, the example as the data type I want to take as the int here, and the variable name I want to use as the amount. Maybe you can use the name, maybe you can use the sum or stood underscore marks. So all are the valid variables. Clear this point here. And lastly going to terminate by using this semicolon. So here how I return completed such a declaration of the variable, like that only we need to use by we need to terminate by using the semicolon. So clear. Now just we completed the introduction and the meaning of the variable here, and also some of the important or valid example for the variable, and later next one the declaration of the variable. Now let's we go for our next concept, that is the valid variables are. So here we can say that some valid variables are maybe the register underscore number. Clear this point here. The register underscore number, it is also a valid variable. We can take a legal variable here, or we can give some example as the name. Clear this point here. The marks underscore score. Okay, the marks underscore score here, or date of joining. So all are the example for the our valid variables. Okay, let's we'll write the register underscore number. Okay, the register underscore number, or maybe the name you can take here, or the marks 1. Okay, the marks 1 is also a valid variable, or some example we can write as the DOJ. The full form of the DOJ is the date of joining. So all are the example of the valid variable. We know that the variable means it is an object. The meaning of the object, identifiable entity. Correct? No? So here we can say that the variable underscore name is an identifier. Identifier anta helidre ಏನು, identifier refers to the name of the variables. Correct? No? The identifier refers to the name of the variable. As we know that to take the name of the variable we need to follow some of the rules of the identifiers. Correct? No? Kya? So the some of the rules of the identifier means the first character must be an alphabet. Maybe the capital letter, maybe the small letter or underscore. Clear this point here? The underscore. So this is the first point, most important point while going to write, while going to take the valid identifier. So ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ? So ನಾವು valid identifier ಹೇಗೆ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ನೇಮ್ ಹೇಗೆ ತಗೊಳ್ತೇವೆ? Maybe the first letter must be an alphabet, maybe the capital letter, maybe the small letter here, or otherwise we can say about our underscore. Clear this point here? But let's some example for the invalid variables. Now some of the invalid variable, ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ invalid variable ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ what's the meaning of the invalid variable? Is it able to take such variable as a variable name? No, it's not possible to take. Why? Because it is a illegal. Okay, kya? If you are using, sure you will get some of the error in the program here. The compiler not going to take such a variable. So let's some example for some invalid variables are. So the first one is the double. Why we are not going to take the double? So here we can say that the double is a keyword. Okay, so because of this reason it's not possible to take the name of the variable as a name of the variable. Keyword cannot be a name of the variable. We know the meaning of the keyword: predefined word, reserved word. It gives some special meaning to the compiler. So one example or many example we can say that the double, int, float, auto, break, if else, switch. Clear this point here? So all are the example for the keyword. So here one example I want to use for the invalid variable double. So why I am going to say the double is a invalid? Why? Because the double is a keyword. Okay, so cannot be take the name of a variable. And the second example for the invalid variable, that is the total marks. ಯಾಕೆ ಇದು total marks invalid ಆಗಿದೆ, illegal variable name ಆಗಿದೆ? Because it contain the spaces. Clear this point here? So that means whatever the variable is there, without leaving the space we need to take. It's better, but because of such variable name we need to take again and again in the program. So maybe in first going to take the first starting step, if you know I already leave some of the space while going to take or while going to write the variable, but later words if you are going to that means if you are going to take maybe by using with the space or without a space, it creating some of the problems in the program here. So we can say that it is also called as the invalid variable name. That means why it is called as the invalid? Total here some of this space is there in between, later words I completed the marks here. So we can say that it contains the spaces, because of this it is called as the invalid variable. And the third point, to student, maybe if you are going to take student 2, okay kya? So if you are taking as the student 2, it is called as the valid variable, but if you are going to take 2 student, it is called as the invalid variable, because begin with a numeric character. Correct? No? So always should remember it. Maybe the name of the variable name is, it is called as the identifier. What do you mean by identifier? Identifier refers to the name of the variable. So such name of the variable must start with an alphabet, either uppercase or lowercase or underscore. Clear this point here? Underscore here. But also we can say that it is made up of alphabet and maybe underscore and digit. But just only first of all we need to start by using the alphabet or the underscore. But if you are going to take 2 student, that means must begin with an numeric character. But in case if you are taking student 2, it is a valid variable. Clear this point here? Okay, and later next one is the fourth example, that is the question total. Okay, kya? The question total. So here we can say that must begin with an alphabet or underscore. Is it correct? We know the rules of the identifier. That means the rules to be followed while creating or naming the identifier. The first character must be an alphabet or underscore, and C++ treat the uppercase and lowercase differently. Correct? No? One example, the capital DATA is not, that is called as the data, is not equal to our small letter data. Clear this point here? So this is the third point, and later we can say that the identifier should be reasonable length. Correct? No? Here, and the next point we can say that means no special character is allowed except the underscore. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ನಾವು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಬಹುದು, ಆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಕೋರ್. ಸೊ ನೋ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಲೌಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ದಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಕೋರ್. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಲೆಸ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್, ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್, ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್, ಆಂಪರ್ಸೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಶ್ ಸಿಂಬಲ್, ಮೇ ಬಿ ದಿ ಫುಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ here, single quote, double quote, and maybe equal sign. Okay, here, so all are the percentage, so all are called as the special character. So in this example we can say that must begin with an alphabet or the underscore. ಅದೇ ನೀವು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕಿನ ಬದಲಿಗೆ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇರ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಆಗ ಅದು ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈಯರ್ ಆಗ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ now we already know the question total, so we can say that it is also example for the invalid variable. So clear the meaning of the variable. And what about the sum? Valid variables are, some valid variables are register underscore number and name marks 1. Okay, ಅದೇ 1 marks ಇರ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಆಗದು ಇನ್ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ, 1 ಅನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ನೋ? ಕ್ಯಾ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ಬಿಗಿನ್ ವಿತ್ ಆನ್ ಆಲ್ಫಾಬೆಟ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಕೋರ್. ಕ್ಯಾ ಸೊ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ 1 ಇಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಆಸ್ ದಿ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈಯರ್, and date of joining all are the example for the valid identifier. Now some of the invalid identifier, double, total, then space is that, marks, to student, and question total. And we already know, I already explained why it is called as the invalid identifiers. Okay, now after completing the some of the valid and invalid identifier, now let's very important concept, that is initialization. Initializing a variable. Okay, here now we are in the third concept, that is our initializing a variable. Now I want to initialize a variable, that means sure I need to write some of the syntax. So here we can say that the syntax to initialize a variable is as follows. So how to write the syntax? The data type, okay, the data type, and later next one variable underscore name, the variable underscore name here, and is equal to value. Clear this point here? Is equal to value. So this is the syntax for initializing a variable. So clear this point here. Declaring a variable ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೇನೆ, declaring a variable, data type, variable underscore name, semicolon. But now I want to initialize some value to the variable. So how to write the syntax to initialize a value to the variable? The syntax, data type, variable underscore name is equal to value, semicolon. So how to write the example? The example for as a data type I want to use as the int here, and variable name, the variable name is equal to b and equal sign as it is. I am using some value to the variable b. The value is the 100. Clear this point here? The value is the 100 here. So clear? So in this example or the explanation we can say here, so here we can say about the, in this case we know that here be a variable name. Correct? No? What's the name of the variable? That means the name of the variable I want to use here as the b. So be a variable name and declared of the data type int here. Correct? No? The data type int, declared of the data type int here, and the value assigned to the variable is 100. That means the value is the 100. So this one is the first point in case of the initializing a variable. So clear the meaning of the initializing a variable? Initialize ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಗೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕೊಡುವುದು. So variable we using some of the value to the variable, or assigning some value to the variable, or providing value to the variable. So should remember it. No any difference, just only declaration is there. No, after the declaration equal sign we need to use and value we need to write, and by using the semicolon, so later words you can complete the initializing a variable syntax also. So clear this point? Okay, now the data type variable underscore name is equal to value. We know each and everything about the syntax with the example. Now let's the second point in case of the initializing a variable. So in our initializing a variable, there are two values are associated with a variable. So the values are, one is the R value and second one is the L value. So here we can say that while going to initialize variable, there are two type of values are going to associate with a variable. The values are, one is the R value, the R value only called as the data value, and the L value is called as the location value. Okay, here the location value here. Now we know that what are the values are going to associate. Now let's the meaning of the R value and the L value. So one example I want to write, int P value is equal to 100 semicolon. As we know that int is called as the data type, P is the variable name, and how to assign the value to the variable by using assignment operator, and value assigned to the variable that is equal to the 100. Correct no kya? 100. But also the one more example we can say, see for example P is the variable name and the value assigned to the variable that is 100 and its memory location may be the 2000. So in this example we know that, so in this example here, and I already said why we using the memory location, that means it represents the name of the memory location in which the value can be stored. Correct no? By using the memory location, that means memory location means it is a space, and why we using such memory space here? To assign some value to the variable, to store the value to the variable here. So in this example we can say that the name of the variable P, correct no? The name of the variable P here and value assigned to the variable P that is equal to 100 here, and later next one the memory address location that is equal to 2000. Ellarige artha aitalla memory address now yake use marteve? Because we know that in our computer whatever the value we are assigning or whatever the variable we are declaring, such variable, that means using first of all to declare a variable, before going to declare the variable we need to assign some memory space to the variable, and for each memory space we need to use some of the value. Clear this point here? And that means we can represent or we can know by using the value of the variable here, but computer can identify just by using the memory address of the variable. Okay here, so memory address of the variable here. So in this case we can, so we know that the 100 is the R value that is called as the data value here, and 2000 the memory value that is called as the location value. Clear this point here? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ನಾನು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ? So we can say that. Now again I want to repeat, it's a very important point here because the variable associated with the two values, one is the R value ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಡಾಟಾ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ, ಯಾವ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂವನ್ನು ನಾವು ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಓಕೆ, R value data value here, and second value is the location value, that means where we are going to use the memory space. Okay, we need to provide some of the location value to the variable. So this is the example. Here we know that the name of the variable is P here and value assigned to the variable 100 that is called as the R value here, and 2000 is the memory location value. Okay, so 2000 is the memory location value. Now let's some other meaning of the R value and the L value. Okay, now first of all is the L value I want to say. That means the L value, the full form is the location value, and it holds the memory address location at which the data value can be stored. Clear this point here? the L value anta helidre location value, and why we using the location value, it holds the memory address location. Okay, it is a memory address, it holds the memory address location at which the data value is stored. Correct? No, the memory address location at which the data value is stored in this case here. So this is called as the L value. So clear this point here. Okay, now the meaning of the R value. The R value is called as the data value. Okay, here, and it holds the value to the variable. Correct? No, what's the value we providing to the variable, or any value that is given to the variable by the programmer. It not necessary just only the 100 value we need to give or take to the variable. Correct? No, maybe any type of value we can give, or we can give to the variable here. So we can say that. So clear the point of the L value and the R value. Idu data value. R value anta helidre 100. Okay, 100. L value anta helidre 2000. So we can say that the L value, location value, it holds the memory address location at which the data value can be stored here, and R value means our data value here. And why we using the data value, that means it holds the value to the variable. Correct? No, it holds the value to the variable, or any value that is given to the variable by the user, or who developed the program, or by the program. Clear? Programmer. Okay, here. So this is about our R value and the L value. And the third point is the here we can say that some information about the dynamic initialization. So what do you mean by a dynamic initialization? So here we can say that our C++ compiler, we are in the language, the name of the language is the C++. That means sure to do some of the operation in computer, we need to take the help of the software that is called as the compiler, and compiler is using to convert from source to the object program. So C++ compiler allow us to declare a variable at runtime. Clear this point here? Sometime we are going to declare a variable, and such variable are going to declare at runtime here. Okay, so maybe sometime before that only, while going to develop the program, we are going to declare the variable, but laterwards you came to know you need to declare some more variable in the program, and laterwards such a declaration of the variable you are going to do at the runtime of the program. What do you mean by a runtime? That means just before the execution of the program, we are going to add some of the variable, is called as the runtime. Okay, declaration. So we can say that here allowing C++ compiler allow us to declare a variable at runtime, and this is called as the dynamic initialization. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? dynamic initialization ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ? ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, the declaration of the variable do at runtime here. So this is called as the dynamic initialization here. So clear this point here. So we can say that in this case here, so this type of variable can be initialized anywhere in the program. Okay, it not necessary anywhere. If you want just before the execution of the program, if you want to add, you can add anywhere. You can initialize anywhere in the program before they are used. Okay, here. So this is about our dynamic initialization. Now let's one example for the, or the suitable example for our dynamic initialization. So here in A, B semicolon. Now still just only how many variable I declared? Just two variable I need to declare in the program. The name of the variable is the the name of the variable are the A and B, and both and or such variable separated by comma, and going to terminate by using this semicolon. And here whatever the lines are there, that means some of the statement I written in the program to develop the program here, and laterwards I initialized one more variable. So the variable is the temp. Clear this point here? So int, that means it's not possible to take the variable directly. Whatever the variable is that need to declare by using the data type. We know that the declaration of a variable variable. The declaration of a variable syntax is the data type variable underscore name semicolon. Correct? No? So just only the variable name is the temp here. So such variable need to declare by using the data type. Okay, here, and later next one is equal to a. So this is the example of the dynamic initialization. Now here in this example we can say that I already said in this case here, that means such dynamic initialization can be do anywhere in the program. Correct? No, here. So now such a value, maybe if you are adding 10 value in a and 10 value in b here, so such a value going to add into the variable temp. Now what's the value that is hold by our temp here? The value that is equal to 10 only. So clear this point here. So this is the example of the dynamic initialization. That means such variable declared at runtime. That means before the execution of the program or just few minutes before the execution of the program here. So now just only by using the value of the gain, now such a whatever the value is there in gain going to initialize to the variable temp. So later words you can use the gain or temp, there is no any problem because both are same. Okay, here. So here we can take a value, that means the b value going to assign to a here, and a value is equal to assign to b here. So clear this point here. Just only you should remember about this one. The temp is example for the dynamic initialization and we declared at a runtime. Clear this one here? Runtime. So instead of the gain you can use the temp also. There is no any problem. So temp is equal to b, otherwise b is equal to temp, because we know that here we already initialize the a value is equal to temp just by using the assignment operator by using the equal sign. Okay, here artha aagta ideya? What about here? So we can say that in this example we already declared two variable by using the data type int variable a and b here, but later words we declared one more variable and this variable is called as the dynamic initialization. Why it is called as dynamic initialization? Because such variable declared at runtime here before the execution. So now how we declared, that means by using the data type int temp and later whatever the value is that of the gain, such a value going to assign to the variable temp, and such one we can assign by using the equal sign, and later words you can use a or temp. There is no any problem because a value is equal to temp, temp value is equal to a here. So in this example, or we can say that in a body of the program, the one variable name, the name of the variable is the temp, is the best example for our dynamic initialization. Clear this point here? So this is some point in case of our initializing a variable. So clear, the first point is about our the first point is the syntax to initialize a variable, and second point about our r value and the l value, and third point about our dynamic initialization. Now, in case of the initializing a variable, we know that we already completed three important points in case of the initialization. First, syntax, how to initialize a variable. Second one is the r value and the l value here, and the third point is about the dynamic initialization. Now, let's the fourth important point in case of the initializing a variable. Here, the access modifier, in this case here, the access modifier, the name of the access modifier is the const. Okay, here prefixed along with the data type for a variable. So now when you are going to know about the example, the first example, how I return const int a value is equal to 100 semicolon. Again I want to repeat how I return the example, that is the const int a value is equal to 100 semicolon. But when you are going to know about the second example, int a value is equal to 100. So in this example just only both are same, but in our first example the access modifier const name is not that, and in our second example, that means in our first example I used the const access modifier, but in our second example such const access modifier word is not that. Now what's the difference to our first example to our second example? So we can say that in this case, so the access modifier const is prefixed along with the data type for the variable, correct? No, is prefixed, already we fixed, or prefixed means already we fixed with the data type here. So prefixed along with the variable and does not allow the variable the value to be changed at all throughout the program. Clear this point here? ಆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂವನ್ನು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ if you are using the keyword const. So clear this point here? If you are using along with the data type, if you are using the keyword const, that means it allow the variable the value it not possible to change at all throughout the program. Such value is fixed. Clear this one? And but what about, so here we can say that means the access modifier const allowing the variable the value to be fixed at all throughout the program here. And what about the int a value is equal to 100? Okay, now we know that in this example a is the name of the variable and declared of the data type int here, and value assigned to the variable that is equal to 100, correct? No, but such value can be changed at any time in the program. How the value it possible to change? Because we know that here the keyword const is not there, correct? No, if you are using the const, that means constant, the meaning of the constant fixed value here, but in case that means the const keyword is not there. So here because of this we can say that such value can be changed at any time in the program here. But how it possible to retain such a value here? It also possible to retain the value unchanged just by using the keyword const, correct? No, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಕೂಡ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲದಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕೀವರ್ಡ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅದೇ ನಾವು ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕೀವರ್ಡ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲದಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಎನಿ ಟೈಮ್ ನಾವು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದಿ ವಿದೌಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕೀವರ್ಡ್. ಓಕೆ ಕ್ಯಾ? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ in case of initializing a variable. Okay, we know that we completed not just only the introduction, we completed the meaning of the variable here, and also we completed some of the declaring a variable. With that the some valid variable, some invalid variable, and also the some point, the four important point of initializing a variable. Now let's some important point in case of our initializing a variable. So we can say that some points to be noted with respect to our initialization. So ಯಾವುದೆಲ್ಲ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ನಮಗೆ ನೋಡಬೇಕು ಸರ್ in a correct manner when you are going to initialize a variable. Initializing ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕೊಡುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು initialization ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ here? ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರಿಂಗ್ ಎ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಇನಿಷಿಯಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕೊಡುದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ? ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಅಸೈನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಪರೇಟರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ the first point in case of the initialization, the values are assigned to the variable at the time of declaring the variable. Clear this point? Now ಯಾವಾಗ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಗೆ? at the time of declaring a variable only. So how we are going to declare? on that time only we assigning some value to the variable. So the example int a, correct? No, this is called as the declaration. ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ನೀವು int a ಅಂತ ಬರಿತಿದ್ರೆ ಆಗ ಅದು ಡಿಕ್ಲರೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್? ನೋ, and laterwards if you are using a is equal to 5 means the second step shows that you are initializing some value to the variable. First point is called as the declaring a variable, and declaration possible by using the data type, and second point shows the initialization of a variable, that means assigning some value to the variable. ಆದ್ರೆ ಈ ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ? not just only I declared the variable, I also initialize some value to the variable. So a value is equal to 5. Clear this point here? So this is the first point in case of the initialization of a variable. The second point we can say that initializing a variable using an assignment operator. Now ಹೇಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಗೆ? we know that very simply, correct? No, just by using the operator like our assignment operator. assignment operator ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಆಪರೇಟರ್? equal operator, equal sign. okay, So the second point says that initializing a variable using an assignment operator. So int k, that is called as the declaring a variable, and later words we are using some value to the variable. If you want, you can use this step. Okay, in one step only we can declare as well as initialize the value to the variable. If you don't want, you can use the second step also. Okay, first of all here we are declaring the variable, and in second step we are initializing some value to the variable. So now just only in this class we completed some of the meaning of the variable. Let's in remaining in next class we are going to complete some important concept, that is from the data types. Thank you.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.